Hey, Baxo, I like Costa. He's a funny mother, dude. I think we all like Costa. We're gonna bleed for you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'm gonna sacrifice some brain cells for you guys.
And I go show you everyone on Saturday.
Boring fight, man. Sorry, guys.
Sean Strickland has been a controversial figure for the longest time in modern UFC. And not to mention, he proved himself as a fighter too, by being a one-time middleweight champion, and even arguably won against the current champion. Arguably. But this is where a new controversy arises. People have been hating on this man recently. No, not for his personality and his takes to gain popularity. This is different. People are now hating on Sean Strickland because of his fighting style. He is now being hated for being boring. Especially the new meta joke where he's just as boring as Dagestani wrestlers. It has come to a point where fans think his style is too good, it's not getting any results in fights. I mean, let's look at his last few fights. His last 3 fights have all been by decision, 2 being split as well. Hold on, I know. We will get into the context of each one, but let's get going with this intro. He has a unique defensive style where he can roll with punches and get the best out of the striking plays. But because of that, it leads to point fighting, and because it's not risky at all, the fans don't like it. Very similar to Dagestani wrestling, where yes, we can see the amazing talent and skill, but seeing a guy transition and push his opponent against the fence for a whole round makes you feel ripped off of the fighting experience. Even less satisfying if he is stalling for time and his wrestling is literally just a safety procedure. So does Sean Strickland have the same level of hate now, but a new level of boring for the stand-up? Will his influence create an extraordinarily boring fighter in the future where he is super defense based on the ground and stand-up? Well, here we go. Let's dive deeper into his actual fights. And just a disclaimer, this channel, if you don't know by now, is purely about the fights and fighting. If I'm ever going to be talking about drama or anything like that, it's probably only going to be talking about the breaking news of it and not going to dive deeper than that. Let's look at the Duplessis fight first, because the most recent news sparked that DDP doesn't even want a rematch with Sean, even though it's booked. He's more excited for Chimaev. So let's take a step back and watch the first fight again. Was it boring? I guess. I mean, all the fights that gets hyped up in 2024 always end up in decision. I think the Weasel explains it best with his analysis here.
Strickland was waiting a little too much, and I think off of his actions of letting Dricus kind of miss his wild punches and then just getting away from him or not pouncing on him for counters every single time Dricus got off balance, throwing these winging punches, it showed to me that Strickland was waiting for Dricus to kind of gas himself out, slow down a bit before he gets aggressive with his own offense. I mean, look how off balance Dricus gets. Look how many times he switches stances and gets squared. It's happened so often in the fight. Even at one point, he swung so wild without even looking at his opponent that he almost ran headfirst into the cage, and Strickland didn't even get on him. Strickland did not reverse the pressure. He actually went to the center of the cage instead. This right here told me, okay, Strickland is waiting for Dricus to gas up before he gets more offensive, because this sequence right here should have absolutely have gotten countered.
I know it's all casual fans saying this, but that's kind of the problem too. Sean might be too technical for all of us, where he's too eager to win without any risks. And for me personally, I do not find the fight boring, okay? I think you can tell by the videos I make and the channel right now. I don't find fights boring at all, but for even a veteran fan, you can see how they might find it boring. The Costa fight. It was a split decision. Even Dana said that was a stupid judge. This fight just solidified why Sean still keeps this style and tanks all the hate, because it works so good. He just shut down Costa as a top 5 fighter. Yes, it was all stand up for 25 minutes, so that's not so good for the fans and not that good for the UFC, because they literally couldn't be bothered making a significant strike stat. They really said they are not rewatching this fight to count what is significant or not. Go fuck yourself. But yeah, maybe strikers don't know how to find reads for Sean Strickland. Maybe after Alex refined Sean's stand-up style, he's basically impenetrable. Take it as a bad or good thing. The Izzy fight without the KO. Imagine how weird it would have been if Sean won by unanimous decision but never got that highlight knockdown in the first round against Izzy. Imagine that, okay? Because despite the first round, Sean Strickland still won the third, fourth, and fifth round. Izzy won the second round. So let's say Izzy won the first round and then there was no knockdown. What would have happened to the whole fan base if Sean Strickland won by unanimous decision, 48-47, 49-46, and new Sean Tarzan Strickland, the new middleweight champion? That would spark up some weird controversies. Realistically, I feel like that will never happen. Even if it was clear as day that Sean won 3 rounds, I feel like the UFC and judges will make up something quick to get Izzy that split decision win. Okay, somehow, somewhere, they'll count every leg kick as significant, so they could skew the significant strike count and the percentage of it. You know, they could do something like that. But looking into the fight, Izzy pushed back in round 2, wanting to get the finish. But Sean, with his style, was too defensive and didn't get knocked out. But Izzy proved himself to win round 2. But for rounds 3, 4, and 5, Sean Strickland had more stamina, and with that more stamina, could land more output. And he was stressing about needing a finish too, which looked bad on Izzy's performance. Was it boring after round 2? Yeah, a bit. But can you blame Sean when he can cruise the fight so easily after a great round 1? That knockdown was like a flash KO. Izzy probably never recovered completely after that. I'm pretty sure he even said what hit me during the round 1 break. His other fights. Okay, for the last part of the video, let's refresh our brains with the other fights other than the Alex Pereira one. Jared Cannonier fight was a split decision loss where many people actually wanted a draw from it. Surprisingly, it was close though, but the judges noticed how much reserved Strickland is. Only the last minute of the fight he goes hard out, which looking back now, which maybe made the judges give a different perspective than Sean Strickland thought. He never really did it throughout the fight, so now he's doing it in the last minute? What's going on? Maybe Jared Cannonier gets the split decision win because he put it all in this fight and he edged some of the stats and edged the win. So it could be a bad look on Sean Strickland's style where he could be too reserved and the judges see it as a bad thing when he goes and springs out to very weird, bursts of combinations where he could have done it throughout the fight. Sean Strickland versus Imamov. Excuse my pronunciation there.
You know, Sean Strickland has made a career off of making guys that are better than him, quicker than him, fight at his level. And when you fight at his level, he's better than you down there. So he's made a career off of that, and I see him going in that direction right now, forcing Imamov to fight his type of fight in which he's better at.
Yeah. Just like Dean Thomas said in some of the comments, it's almost like Sean is changing the fight to fit his style. And that's how it ends up being decisions, and most times it works out for him. And sometimes it doesn't, where he loses the game. But what do you think? Is Sean Strickland boring for you? And this whole video idea is sprung up by many tweets on Twitter. But at the end of the day, they are tweets from Twitter. They can only be as much value as an actual person, okay? Not to talk shit, but Twitter is a place where you get money for engagement. And anger is the most engaging emotion. So of course, there's a lot of rage baiting, and it makes it easier because the least knowledgeable you know about a topic, the more potential it is to be a highlight tweet because it's rage baity as hell. So with that being said, this video, don't take it too seriously where you think the whole MMA community thinks Sean Strickland is boring or shit. And also don't forget the Magomedov fight. That was a KO fight, but Magomedov's cardio was so horrible that fight. I have no freaking idea what happened there. Magomedov shouldn't have jumped that high. I think they were undervaluing Sean Strickland, and we'll just think of that fight as some sort of weird anomaly. All right. Bye.